Investigative. The family from the Justice's Octopus. 787 views. 1 votes. Average 3 out of 5. Loading. Print this post. Her husband, a businessman, is held in the prison. N.13, being sentenced 1 year ago to 12 years in prison by the first instance. Her brother, another businessman, is imprisoned, also for 12 years, in Transnistria, in a case in which he was maltreated and blackmailed to quit the companies he led in Left Bank of Dniester. 2 months ago, on her name was also opened a criminal case. On May 14, 2004, Alabama German obtained a first victory. Judge Svetlana Filinkova, Yuri Bajenaru, and Galina Strachulet, from the Supreme Court of Justice, SCJ, upheld lower court's decisions and ruled that 6 members of her family, she, Alabama's German, brother Vitaly Aryamenko, wife, parents and children, Vera, Tudor, Elena and Vladislav, received from the state, each, 32,000 lei, compensations, total 192,000 lei, because on January 20, 2012, to execute a query that came from Andrei Mijinch, then head of S from Transnistrian region, equivalent to NAC in Moldova, Georgy Treshakov, then head of the criminal police of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, MIA, sent personal information to the illegal authorities from Left Bank of Dniester, about those 6 persons, including the businesses and properties they hold in Chisinau. I was shocked by what I saw. Information and collaboration between Andrei Mijinch, brother of Valentin Mijinch, former head of KEK and ex-minister of MIA, and Georgy Treshakov, officially hired in MIA, was made in a file widely known and publicized in recent years, including international media. File has in the foreground Vitaly Aryamenko, brother of Alabama German, who had, along with a controversial local businessman Victor Petroman, 4 largest factories in Slobozia district. Aryamenko was kidnapped in March 2011, and then tortured and blackmailed by Transnistrian militia to convey stake of companies he managed, so that he finally did it. Since then, Alabama's German did everything possible to save her brother from the clutches of the separatists. She organized press conferences, announced international organizations and embassies accredited in Moldova, and our law enforcement authorities, MIA, and the Prosecutor General, PG. My brother, who was sentenced in 2013 to 12 years in prison, is accused that allegedly washed money, working with trader, who with stolen money built his house and everything in the house, although his factories had over 500 employees and turnovers of tens of millions of dollars. Once I had access to the file, which had 25 volumes, a photographer photographed 3 days in the investigator's office. I was shocked by what I saw. I did not understand what attribution do I have, children, to the case from Transnistria, says Alabama German. Then she began to make the first complaints. Complaints remaining without result, I wrote to the National Center for Personal Data Protection, NCPDP, and MIA. In the first response, those from the NCPDP said there is no violation, and in response of MIA it was noted that the data have not left the territory of Moldova, even if they were sent to the Left Bank, tells Ala German. Subsequently, the NCPDP has changed its position, acknowledging the illegality committed by Georgy Treshakov. Vitaly Panis, director of NCPDP, said for ZDG that initially, the center was misled by the MIA, which referred to some documents cancelled in 2005. How could we not believe them? The answer was signed by a vice minister. After we reviewed the case, we found, however, that MIA misinformed us, he says. However, although they found iniquity, and warned MIA not to do so in the future, referring to several regulations, representatives of the center announced that there are no legal basis to punish Treshakov. Alabama Gorman also complained about internal security service of the MIA and PG, requesting criminal punishment of Treshikov. In a response signed by Vladimir Mayduk, former head of internal security stated that there are no violations on his part, because, officially, according to the law on basic provisions of the special legal status of Transnistria in 2005, all law enforcement from there are part of law enforcement from Moldova. Neither prosecutors had a different response to the topic, answering her that there were no grounds to prosecute Treshikov. Judge upheld the prosecutor's position. So she filed a complaint in court, which, finally, did her justice. However, even after the Supreme Court's decision, the MIA employee cannot be punished, on case being conclusion of judge. I reckon that I have not violated anything from the documents in the file, held by ZDG. It is noted that the collaboration relations between Georgy Treshikov and Andrei Mijinch were not a premiere. The two spoke in Russian, and Treshikov recognized Mijinch as head of, Lieutenant Colonel. My position is one. That there was the law drafted in 2005, where police, prosecutors and ISS from the left bank of Dniester were recognized as parts of MIA. I acted according to this law. What the court said, it is the court, it decides. I reckon that I have not violated anything, told us Treshikov. Asked by ZDG if collaborated with those from the left bank of Dniester, Colonel avoided an answer. We're talking about this case. What work was done, who did it, I do not care, he replied. Later, he returned with a call reminding that on his behalf, prosecutors decided that he was right. My actions, of Colonel Treshikov were assessed correctly. SCJ has exposed on legality of our laws, not on the actions of Colonel. It was decided that I, Colonel, acted correctly, says current Chief of Serious Crimes Department at General Inspectorate of Police. It is an incompetent approach and interpretation. Means that they are still working now. The first article of the law to which referred to Mr. Treshikov establishes when the law comes into force, e.a. when in the region will be a democratically elected power, and when it will be demilitarized. It's fantastic if MIA say so, says Alexander Postica, Program Director at Promola. Nicoleta Raplivii, lawyer, from Promola Association, who represented the family Bajan, Eryamenko in court, fights the statements of Georgy Treshikov. First, we have a decision of NCPDP stating that actions of Mr. Treshikov were illegal. The court did not expose that, namely he is guilty, but mentioned that through his actions, MIA is the one responsible. An individual may be responsible only in a criminal trial, the initiation of which, unfortunately, in this case, was denied, illegally, says the lawyer. The whole family with criminal cases. The little victory of Alabama Bajan in this case is, however, only a pale consolation. As, in 2012, time during which she was in war with law enforcement, trying to do justice to her brother, her husband, Ian Gorman, also a businessman, was arrested. There was a case, in 2008, which was ranked legal. In 2012, by Andrei Pantia, first Deputy Prosecutor General, the case was reopened. The official reason, in the hearing of her husband, from 2008, the time was not indicated. That query was cancelled, and the case resumed and in a few months, prosecuted. After a while, through the sentence of the judge Oleg Melnishuk, my husband was sentenced to 12 years in prison. All because of a contract between the two companies. One of my husband, and another of another businessman. Basically, during the time that I was blaming law enforcement doing nothing, was saying names of prosecutors doing illegalities, the file was reopened. Basically, a parade of criminal cases started, she says. In November 2013, Alabama Gorman made public her husband's case in a press conference. The next day, her husband is visited by the prosecutor, who acknowledges that he has another criminal record. They say we have taken money from a former policeman, now advisor in Anini, Illinois, and have not built in the house. But there are people who say they have worked there. There are pictures, reports the woman, presenting us further evidence of this. Interestingly, a few months ago, also on the name of Alabama Bejan was opened a criminal case. They say that I, owner of Gordon Con Company, one of the most modern in the country, dealing with production of dried fruits, made illegalities with the money that my husband would have stolen. People now tend to take my factory, she thinks. I was left, a woman, to fight all the demons. They have put behind me a wall, without even leaving a small gate. But I won't give up. I will go further, she says. Recently, NAC has opened a criminal case, after Alabama Bejan addressed, arguing that she has extorted money. Also recently, has been initiated another criminal case on untrue statements of the victim from her husband's file. PSZDG will monitor these files and will return to the topic in future editions. Victor Mosnig.